Hi there, Zamir for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and some spoilers for Lioness Season 2, Episode 7. The devil has aces. This is the phrase that was used at some particular point during this episode to show Zoe Saldana's character, Joe, that doesn't matter how good she is at her job, eventually, if you go up against somebody with a better hand, you will lose. Hence, the devil has aces. So last week we saw Jo in intensive care, and this week she has recovered. As she was recovering and she came out of a mini coma, so to speak, she ended up giving some right hooks to a few nurses because she was in disarray. She was waking up and she was panicking, and her army military skills came into play, beating the shit out of paramedics who were trying to help her. Eventually, they got her under control, and she ended up getting her sanity back a little bit, and then come to the conclusion of realizing that she's going to be on the shelf for a little while. Something she doesn't want to do, but something her husband definitely wants her to do. Now, I'm going to get back to Joe's character in a little bit. I want to talk about Gutierrez because he was somebody who we never really kind of knew where we stood with him during the course of this show. Is he a good guy? Is he an informant? Well, we found out in this episode that he's actually a good guy. We're talking Boy Scout level of good guy. He was taken in by Joe's team for more investigations. I apologize for that noise. And they did a lie detector test on him, asking him various questions. And yeah, he came out squeaky clean. And Nicole Kidman's character, who was also there during the interrogation, basically wants him to get back on board. Now they know that he's a good guy. They're on the same team pretty much. They're also interrogating the housekeeper who was working for Josephine's parents, who used to work for Gutierrez. You know, they get the information out from both of them. The housekeeper now will probably go under protective custody and all of that, get a new identification so nobody comes to harm her. But yeah, Gutierrez is a good guy, and I'm really happy that he is. The actor who plays him usually plays arseholes and villains, so to see him on the right side of the tracks makes me really happy. It's good to see him play a really squeaky clean good guy for once. But back to Jo, because really we're focusing on her. Actually, you know what? Before we go back to Jo, let's talk about Josephine and Cruz, because you know, they're looking amazing, just wearing regular clothes and stuff like that. They're a couple of fit young ladies, and when they're not in their military garb, they look hot as fuck. And I'm just saying that from my red-blooded perspective. I apologize for offending anyone. But we already know that Cruz kind of plays both, kind of like walks both sides of the road. But we're not so sure about Josephine. But at one point, Josephine kind of makes a pass on Cruz, and before they get it on, the rest of Joe's team comes in and kind of cop blocks both of them from getting it on. And they do end up sharing a bed later on, but they sleep. And when they wake up in the morning, they're about to get it on again. And unfortunately for them, they also get cop blocked by a urgent call from Joe, telling them that they need to do a mission straight away somewhere in Iraq. See, now Jo is on the shelf. She's doing more office work and talking to the higher ups, face to face, getting their information. With the person who committed the suicide bomb the other week, they believe that there are maybe Iranians and people like that working with the cartels. I kind of forgotten actually that they're looking for looking for a particular Chinese guy as well within that cartel. That totally slipped my mind because they haven't brought it up until now. So they're going to go off to Iran to maybe get some more information. And this time around, they'll need a pilot to help fight their battles, not somebody necessarily to fly them. And that person will be Josephine. I kind of realized during the course of this series now that it's not going to follow similar footsteps to season 1, where we saw Cruz, basically infiltrating an organization. We haven't really seen any of that from Josephine, other than maybe talking to her parents. We're 7 episodes in, and she, by now you would expect her to be chilling with her uncle's, drug cartel ranch somewhere in Colombia or where the fuck he's from, trying to get some information and work her way in. But no, we're not even there yet. Jesus Christ, stop messaging me for fuck's sake. So where we are now is Cruz doing what she does best, which is working in an Apache helicopter, shooting the shit out of people, and that's something she may have to do when she goes to Iran, to maybe infiltrate some bad guys who are out there, to understand the link they have with the cartel. So that's where we're going with the next episode. And my God, and regarding Joe, well, she obviously is on the shelf at this particular moment in time, so she won't be doing any combat whatsoever, but she's still going to be going to Iran, and this is what pisses off her husband. Her husband's a doctor. He knows that she should be at home resting after the shit she went through, regarding the injury she took. And it wasn't even a bullet wound that she had, it was shrapnel from her phone that penetrated her skin. Regardless, that shrapnel came from a bullet. So still, she could have died that particular time, and her mum and her kids would not have a mum anymore. So Neil is really pissed off, and as much as Joe is trying to get onto Neil's good side, he's not having it this time round. Even though he knows what he's signed up for, he's like, this time, like, it's just too much. Like, she's constantly on the move. She's hardly at fucking home. She's not being a mother to her daughters. She's almost died this time round. She's been advised to sit back and relax, and she's not doing that. And Joe is so fucking mad that he doesn't even say goodbye to her in a nice way. He fucking throws his phone and smashes it on the floor as he finishes speaking to her, as Joe's about to get on an aeroplane to fuck off to Iran. So yeah, absolutely crazy stuff. But I have to say, this episode kind of wasn't as, even though there was this episode was intense regarding some of the drama, but it wasn't an action-packed episode. There was no action scenes whatsoever. Not every episode needs to have that, but I did feel like this was the beginning of a new part of this series, where we kind of got like almost like a reset. Okay, now we're going in this direction, and with these particular characters who we've already established, and this was the beginning of that. That's how it felt. Regardless, this show's just still brilliant, and even when we have a more somber episode like this, compared to some of the more high octane episodes we usually get, it's still interesting once you've invested yourself with these characters, especially with people like Joe, who is going through all types of craziness right now, who's actually prioritizing her work over her family, even though she has the opportunity to be with her family now that she's injured, and she'll still rather do her fucking work. So it kind of shows you what she does prioritize. Anyway, what am I going to give this episode? I was going to give it a 7, but you know what? I'm going to give it an 8. I really am. I mean, a part of me was thinking to myself, just because there's no action scenes, I should rate it lower. But no. That's a disservice to shows like this. It doesn't need to have action scenes all the time. And when it does have it, it's going to be very rewarding. I think next week, with them going to Iran, I'm sure shit's going to kick off. And I'm sure we're going to get some nice, crazy moments. But it's good to have a setup like this episode. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Good character arcs, good moments between a lot of the characters, especially Neil. Just like his frustrations and anger towards his wife, that she won't fucking stay at home when the opportunity's there. It's just brilliant. I feel his frustration, I really do. And the comical moments, well, it's not necessarily played out as comedy, but I saw it as comedy, as these two beautiful women are trying to make love to each other, and they keep getting cock blocked by certain scenarios. Fucking hilarious. And at the same time, I feel a bit sad for not being able to see the action get down. Regardless, who needs all of that when you've got such great writing? So yeah, keep watching this show. I'm sure we'll get rewarded with some excellent stuff. I'm yabbering on now, so I better shut the fuck up. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye bye.